What does independence look like in a 3-year-old child, a 6-year-old, or a 12-year-old? What does confidence look like at those ages? How many more good decisions versus bad decisions does your child have to make before you consider them a good decision maker? Now, obviously, being an independent, confident, good decision maker means something very different as your child grows from a 3-year-old to an 18-year-old. The important thing you need to focus on as a parent is making sure you're helping your child establish their independence, their confidence, and their good decision-making skills as early as possible in their life. And then helping them develop and grow those characteristics throughout their lives before they leave your home. Now, before I get deeper into this topic, I want to ask that you subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping to build a big enough audience to get a publisher interested in my book. And if you like what you hear, please like this video and share it with someone who might get some benefit from it. Now, back to developing your independent, confident, good decision maker. After watching countless videos here on YouTube and reading a whole bunch of books by parenting experts, what I've learned is that few, if any of them, talk about developing your child's most important core attributes from a very young age. Now, how many times have you heard a parent say, "I don't know what happened to my son. He was such a good little boy, but now," or "she was always so sweet, but I can't even talk to her anymore." These are parents that left well enough alone. They had a child that wasn't a problem, not any more than any normal child, and they didn't do anything. Again, they left well enough alone until things went bad. Until their son started hanging out with a bad crowd, or their daughter seemed to suddenly not want to talk to them anymore. It seems to me that the parenting philosophy most often used is to wait for a problem to arise and then deal with it. Now, this is the approach that results in child psychologists making a lot of money. It's the approach that causes a desperate parent to have to wait weeks or months to get an appointment with a therapist for their child. The big question for you to ask yourself as a parent is, do you want to wait until something goes wrong, or do you want to establish the foundational strengths that will keep your kids healthy physically, mentally, and emotionally? Do you want to take the time and energy to build an independent, confident, good decision maker, where each of those attributes gets stronger over the years, healthier? Do you want to better prepare your son or daughter for the ever-increasing challenges they'll face as they get older? Now, let's look at it as a tree. If you had a tree, you take care of your tree, you water it, you feed it, maybe put support lines on it if there's stormy weather showing, coming down. That tree, if you do those things, will have a much better chance of growing from a 2-inch trunk to a 12-inch trunk over the years. That tree is much more likely to grow straight, be healthy, and have deep roots that will keep it sturdy and allow it to weather the storms that it will experience in the years ahead. The critical aspect of my ICD parenting philosophy is that strong, healthy kids are built from day one, and the building and reinforcing never stops. It's a consistent effort throughout the child's life until they're 18 years old. Why did I write a book? Why am I making videos on YouTube? Why am I spending all this time and effort? It's because the vast majority of parenting experts I've read or listened to, they may be experts on addressing the problems your children face, but in my opinion, none of them are experts in showing you how to raise your kids to drastically reduce the number of problems they'll have when they're tweens and teenagers. Google parenting experts. Check out the parenting section at your local library. It's overwhelming. Tons of books, tons of stuff. And yet the percentage of our children suffering from mental health issues continues to increase. How? Why? Something doesn't add up. The only thing that makes sense to me is that all these parenting experts are focusing on the wrong thing. Their focus is how to help you deal with a problem child, not how to raise an ICD adult, someone who knows how to handle their own problems. My son is currently 21 years old. He's living his best life. in all the fundamental ways that matter. My wife and I are essentially done parenting him. My wife and I are now just mentors. We're advisors. He turns to us when he wants an honest opinion or an experienced opinion with some issue in his life. It's always interesting when he calls to discuss something, the tone of his voice, the back and forth, the mutual respect. Most parents I know don't have that type of conversation. They don't have the type of conversation I have with my son, and he's 21 years old, until their kids are in their mid-30s. I forget sometimes that he's only 21. I believe that's the result of the parenting philosophy my wife and I used from the day he came home from the hospital until the day he left for college. Now, let me change gears to address those of you who have kids that are far beyond their baby years. Can you start using the ICD parenting approach with any chance of success with an older child? Yes, I believe you can, because of the other bedrock aspect of ICD parenting, and that's teaching your kids to live at the boundaries of their abilities. If you haven't watched my video, The Boundaries of Their Abilities, please do. That video goes into great detail regarding that aspect of my parenting philosophy. What's important here is that you understand that all is not lost just because you haven't started this approach when your child was just a baby. You can start encouraging your child at any age to live as often as possible, as much as possible, at the boundaries of their abilities. That's where they truly challenge themselves. They're challenged what they're capable of doing. It's where they get the most satisfaction from an accomplishment. It's where they expand their world. Living in complacent comfort is not healthy. It's not healthy for the body, it's not healthy for the mind, and it's not healthy for the spirit. Most human beings are genetically wired to feel good about themselves when they're pushing their limits, when they're putting in the effort to better themselves in any way. Look at the happiest people around you, the ones that get up every day expecting to enjoy themselves, the ones that consistently have a positive outlook for their life. Think about the people you know that generally always seem hopeful, determined, optimistic, excited about their future. Isn't that the attitude you want your child to have as an adult? Let's talk about independence, confidence, and good decision making, each one of those attributes. Independence is defined as having the freedom from the control, influence, support, and aid of others. There are many parents that actually don't want this for their kids. You probably know a few. What is your goal for your child? It's a bit scary for a parent as their children gain more and more independence. My son is currently a cadet at the United States Air Force Academy. I noticed on the Facebook page for his class that a mom was asking for help for her cadet in getting him transportation from the Denver airport back to Colorado Springs, back to the academy. This is a parent that doesn't support independence. The main purpose of our service academies is to develop the next generation of military officers, leaders, those that lead. And this parent still thinks she needs to help her young adult arrange transportation from the airport. Are you willing to give your 3 or 4-year-old small bits of independence to help them grow and build their independent foundation? That service academy parent doesn't trust her 21-year-old cadet with such a simple task. That's not good. Think about it. Do better. Do it for your kids. Real independence is evident in people that are both comfortable doing things on their own and having the intelligence to ask for help when they need it. Independence is not about living on an island absent of everyone else. It's about being comfortable in your own skin. It's about being honest with yourself about who you are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Independent people know when to go it alone and when to wave the red flag and ask for help. These people recognize their strengths, and just as importantly, they do not ignore their weaknesses. Honesty with yourself is the basis for being a successfully independent person. Confidence. Confidence isn't about always knowing exactly what you should do. It's about realizing that a path needs to be chosen and accepting that if your choice turns out wrong, you can always alter your course if necessary. Now, have you ever gone to the movies with someone who just can't decide what movie they want to watch? Or someone that's not sure what dessert to have after dinner, or if they should even have dessert? I mean, for goodness sakes, make a decision and move on. Confidence and cocky are very different. So many people I've met over the years confuse being cocky with being confident. Having the attitude that you are always right, that you know better than others, and that your decision is correct all the time is foolish. That's cocky. When cocky people fail, they tend to blame some outside factor, a person, bad luck, timing, something always besides themselves. When a confident person fails, they're most likely to self-reflect and try to determine what really caused the failure. A confident person almost always looks first to their own behavior and their own decisions to see if they were responsible for the failure. It's the confident person that learns from their failures, whereas the cocky person tends to make the same mistakes over and over. Your job as a parent is to help your child understand the difference. Teach them to be confident. It will give you, as the parent, a huge degree of comfort knowing that they can do this on their own, whatever this happens to be. Good decision maker. Being a good decision maker doesn't mean you make good decisions the vast majority of the time. Depending on what you do, it might mean you make good decisions only some small portion of the time. Here's the difference. Good decision makers know that they do not necessarily make more correct decisions than the average person. Good decision makers tend to more quickly correct their own bad decisions. I wouldn't want to keep score of all my decisions on a daily basis and look at my score at the end of a day or a week. However, I'll bet that if I could determine my overall good versus bad decision score, you would find that ultimately, over long periods of time, I tend to have more good outcomes than bad outcomes. Outcome is the critical concept. Any decision made is in the pursuit of accomplishment of a task, a responsibility, a duty. Good decision makers are more likely to question their decisions, to adjust or completely abandon an approach for an alternative. Good decision makers prioritize the outcome they hope to achieve over being wrong or right on a given decision in the pursuit of that outcome. You ever meet someone that always has to be right? How wrong that is. Having an independent mind allows you to ignore the noise others make that often confuse those that lack the strength to stand on their own. Add in a healthy dose of confidence that provides the belief in self that it's the rock on which you choose your path. That is, make your decision. Combine that with the first ability to recognize quickly when a decision is not good, but has shown itself to be bad, and then you possess the strength of mind to change that decision to get closer to achieving your goal, the outcome you want. That's an ICD adult. Never underestimate the strength that comes from living an ICD life. The joy, the happiness, the passion, and the appreciation and the peacefulness that defines someone that lives that way. It's easiest when you introduce these three pillars to your child as young as possible: independence, confidence, and good decision making. But you can begin helping your child develop those three foundational supports anytime by encouraging them to live at the boundaries of their abilities. Raising your own ICD adult. Start young, or as young as possible. Be consistent with this approach throughout their first 18 years of life. The result will shock you. It shocked me. Thanks for listening.